This program produced by Union Pacific Railroad. "24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Year in and year out, many industries face around-the-clock, around-the-calendar business schedules. The professionals who work these schedules live unique lifestyles. Railroading is just one of the many industries which must meet around-the-clock deadlines. We provide quality transportation services which our customers depend on. Railroading is a vital component of the transportation industry and is a member of the 24-Hour Society. Railroading is a way of life.
Shift work really doesn't accurately describe the life of a railroader in train service or engine service.
My kids, until they started school, didn't realize anybody else worked normal hours. They thought all fathers worked the way I did, you know.
It was like trying to incorporate his lifestyle, which you couldn't plan on anything, into mine, which was more structured.
And I feel with the railroad, if there's one thing that they could possibly do to help us, those of us that run the trains and our families, is give us that one piece of information, when we're going to go to work, as near as you possibly can.
It's very hard to explain to them, you know, that Daddy can't be here for your birthday, or, you know, he missed your school play, or you know, your dance or your soccer game or something like that. That's very hard for them to understand.
People don't understand why you might be edgy, why you might be short-tempered, because you've gone 2 or 3 days with different sleep periods.
We have divorces and, you know, on the railroad because some women just can't take the different, you know, hours, you know.
You can't come out here and work and be gone away from home for a couple of days and be worried about the argument that you and Mother had before you left.
We have such an odd time of sleeping. We do not have that evening sleep. We sleep with curtains closed. We sleep in artificial darkness.
I've noticed a lot more heartburn as far as, you know, indigestion in the last couple of years. At one point in time, I was eating Rolaids like candy.
If you haven't got it with you, you're not going to have a chance to stop and get it.
When I first became a locomotive engineer, I knew what I was getting into. The one thing that I really hadn't stopped to realize was that this was going to go on for years and years.
Railroading is a lifestyle. Railroaders work non-traditional schedules, have their own family interactions, hobbies, sleep habits, eating habits, and health and safety issues. In all shift work-related industries, conflicts arise from workers continually attempting to live an 8-to-5 daytime lifestyle, rather than living a lifestyle compatible with their work schedule. People continue living this daytime lifestyle because little or no educational material had been designed specifically for an alternate type of lifestyle for shift workers. Few examples exist for raising a family and having an active social life when you work such a schedule. Relying on traditional daytime patterns can result in conflicts. This program is designed to help you make informed choices by offering information and strategies about sleep, body rhythms, eating habits, family and social interactions, resulting in increased job safety and a healthier you. By better understanding these informed choices, you'll be able to improve your quality of life. These things are relatively independent of your work schedule, but are necessary if you want to be in a good mood, have energy for your time off, sleep better, and stay healthier longer. The majority of these things are under your control and are not directly the result of your schedule.
Well, that's good, Doug.
Some of you already practice appropriate strategies, but almost everyone can improve if they know what to do and why they're doing it. Regardless of your age, many of your own strategies seem to work okay. However, at a younger age, There are tendencies to ignore basic body cues, which may cause long-term physical problems.
In 11 years, I've never got really used to sleeping on the road.
When you know you're going to go to work, for some reason or another, it makes it difficult to get to sleep.
You have to sleep when you have the opportunity to sleep, or you have to try and sleep.
When you know that phone's going to ring, you don't sleep soundly.
To formulate effective long-term lifestyle strategies, you need a better understanding of body rhythms and body clocks. These biological processes have their ups and downs. In the body, there are approximately 10,000 simultaneous biological rhythms. Most of these rhythms, or cycles, are short, such as heartbeat, breathing, blood pressure fluctuations, and digestion. However, some rhythms are quite long, such as the reproductive cycle. We're concerned with those rhythms operating on a 24-hour cycle. These are called circadian rhythms. There are between 70 and 100 of these daily rhythms, which govern the timing of all important body processes. These daily rhythms tell us when to be active, when to rest, and when to eat. Even processes we are unaware of, like body temperature, kidney functions, hormone secretions, blood pressure, and digestion. Each body function has its own daily cycle, but all of the body processes must coordinate with one another for the body to function at peak mental and physical levels. Given a regular daytime schedule, our body clocks synchronize with one another and with external events such as day, night, meal times, activities, and rest periods. The daily body temperature cycle is the best measure of the circadian rhythms. This cycle corresponds to what's happening to us physically and metabolically. Memory, physical strength, reaction time, digestion, mood, and alertness are all determined on a day-to-day basis by this cycle. At the low point, usually 3 to 6 a.m., impairment of mental and physical functions is greatest, even for those who have had their full quota of sleep. For those who are sleep deprived, the effects are greatly magnified and can readily lead to misperceptions, mistakes, and accidents. For someone who works days and sleeps nights, the body clock starts raising body temperature just before wake-up time and signals the body to wake up. Body temperature rises throughout the day, and with it, we reach a point of peak efficiency. At that point, we are most alert. Digestion is working well. Physical strength is at a high point. Reaction times are fastest. We're able to function best mentally, and our judgment is good. Later, an hour or two before bedtime, temperature begins to drop, and the body begins to slow down. As we sleep, other body processes continue to slow down. For example, digestion slows down and stops during the night. Blood flow to the large skeletal muscles decreases since we're not physically active. The body shuts down a number of day-related processes and activates sleep-related processes.
When I get up here after having a night run, it's like I've been up so long that my body says, well, it's daylight, it's time to do something, but there's nothing to do but go to sleep.
In the wintertime especially, if you can get home before it gets dark and get to bed, you can trick your body into thinking you're sleeping nights.
Because the way we work, morning and night doesn't mean anything. There's no such thing as when you're supposed to go to sleep.
What happens when someone who normally sleeps at night has to stay up all night? Well, the body will still go into its nighttime phase. As the body temperature drops to its 3 to 6 a.m. low point, physical strength, the ability to think clearly, reaction times, judgment, concentration, and memory can be impaired. Consequently, there are more safety risks involved, and more mistakes are made during this time frame.
The ability to sleep during the day, I think, is a learned thing. It's not something that you do naturally.
When you're really tired and you really want to sleep, Well, that's the day everybody decides to call and sell you siding, you know.
Well, I'm a very poor day sleeper. I cannot sleep in the daytime very well. I would say about 3 hours is about the most I can get during the daytime hours.
You have to condition your body to stay awake at night.
What happens when we stay up all night, then go home and try to go to sleep? As the temperature cycle continues, the temperature rises, which indicates that body metabolism is shifting into the day mode. We will have trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. In fact, the later we go to bed during the day, the less sleep we're likely to get, because body temperature reaches a high level that is incompatible with sleep. Have you ever wondered why at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning you can be so desperately sleepy, and yet, by the time you get to bed at 8 or 9 a.m., you feel wide awake? Doesn't this run opposite to what we believe about sleep? Which is, the longer you stay awake, the sleepier you become? Well, that's simply not the case. Because in the short term, your body enters its daytime phase even though you haven't slept. You may also find yourself awake during the only opportunity you have to sleep prior to work. Because it takes so long for the body to adjust to changes in behavior patterns, the metabolic cycle virtually never adjusts for people with irregular and non-routine work schedules. This can lead to chronic fatigue. Actually, it's a state of chronic jet lag, where the body clocks and rhythms are in one time zone and the work-rest patterns and activities are in another. Getting adequate sleep and rest before working at night will improve your ability to function physically and mentally during the 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. period. Your body functions reach their low point between 3 and 6 a.m. During this period, reaction times may be slower, and memory, alertness, and judgment may be impaired. This is no time to take chances.
Open the window up, drink water, just keep talking to that engineer.
Wet cold rag, wash my face, and it may sound ridiculous, but my wrists and the bends of my arms.
The whole secret of it is, as far as staying alert, is getting your rest.
Almost 80% of night workers complain of poor quality, inadequate sleep. Obtaining adequate amounts of good quality daytime sleep requires special preparation and effort.
When we built the bedroom, we made it to where it'll be dark.
Performing pre-sleep rituals such as taking a warm shower and reading will help you wind down and signal your body to prepare for sleep, regardless of the time of day or where you are.
You just need a certain amount of time to sit and unwind.
A lot of times reading will put me to sleep after a while. I can't just come in, even off an easy run, and even in the middle of the night, when I'm tired as heck, and just go straight home and go straight to bed.
In the daytime, the earlier you get to bed, the better. As your body temperature increases during the day, it reaches a point incompatible with sleep. The biggest complaint of day sleepers is awakening too soon and being unable to return to sleep. The daytime sleep environment should be as much like night as possible.
At one time, I carried these plastic trash bags with me, and I'd wet them and stick them up against the window.
I have these 2 black sheets that I put over the windows.
Darkening the room helped. Having the room soundproofed helped.
When we bought the house that we're in now, it needed curtains and stuff anyway. So, along with my wife, got curtains. I bought room darkening shades.
I go down to the basement at home if I'm going to take a nap.
You know, we put the TV in one end of the house. My bedroom's in the other end of the house.
Your sleep room should be dark and quiet. Use shades or aluminum foil, or arrange where possible a room specifically for daytime sleep, maybe in a corner of the basement.
Like up here, I'll turn the blower on, either the blower or the heater or the air conditioner, and it'll drown out this noise we got around here.
White noise helps quite a bit.
If I turn my TV on very low and try to sleep, I usually sleep a little better and at a longer time than if I just make everything completely quiet.
Mask daytime sounds by operating a fan or air conditioner. A room temperature between 65 and 68 degrees will help retard the daytime increase in body temperature. Generally, it's best to sleep in one long sleep period. There are times, however, after working nights, where it may be better to grab 3 or 4 hours of good quality sleep and then wake yourself up. This is only a good idea if you know that you will not be called that night. You should be able to return to bed at normal time and sleep through the night. Irregular napping is a poor sleep strategy and should be reserved for times when you have no choice.
I think the hardest thing for me and anybody else to do is to lay down and say, I have to go to sleep. I have to get rested.
Obtaining adequate amounts of good quality sleep is probably the most important thing you can do for yourself. Sleep is not a uniform state. Sleep consists of several stages which have different functions for your body, mood, and mental capacity. Sleep stages are defined by brain waves or EEG rhythms. As we fall asleep, our brain waves and other body functions, such as heartbeat, breathing, and digestive processes, slow down. At sleep stage 1, we become unconscious and are no longer aware of the activities around us. Being unconscious, however, is not the equivalent of good quality sleep. 8 hours sleeping in stage 1 would make you feel as if you hadn't slept at all. From a physical standpoint, the most important stage of sleep is deep or delta sleep. It's during this stage that a growth hormone is secreted, which is necessary for your muscles and skeletal system. With inadequate amounts of deep sleep, we gradually become more fatigued, react more slowly, become physically weaker, and ultimately develop body aches and pains. Another vitally important stage of sleep, completely different from all others, is called rapid eye movement, or REM sleep. During this stage, which occurs about every 90 minutes, we dream. REM sleep is extremely important for proper mood and mental functioning. With inadequate REM sleep, we wake feeling unrefreshed, irritable, and depressed. We have more difficulty learning, remembering, and concentrating. Getting from one sleep stage to another is a gradual slowing down and transition process. If you're disturbed while sleeping, you essentially start over again. Repeated disturbances will cause your sleep to restart from lighter stages of sleep rather than descend into deeper and more important stages of REM and deep sleep.
You can't turn your phone off. So you have to answer the phone to tell the guy, I don't want the aluminum siding. And, you know, there goes you sleep. You doze off, but no, I don't need a new roof.
Home, telephone, you know, I cut it off and use a, you know, pager, you know, in daytime, because with kids and wife's friends and relatives, you never know when the phone's going to ring.
Without proper strategies, day sleepers may lose as much as 50% of REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, and up to that much deep sleep. On a day-to-day basis, you may not notice the effects of poor quality sleep, but in the long run, poor quality sleep can affect your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Because of our body clocks, the average day sleeper gets 1 to 2 hours less sleep than a night sleeper. In one major study, average shift workers obtained 7.6 hours of sleep at night, only 4.3 hours of sleep during the day. On an occasional basis, you can tolerate this. Over the course of many years, there may be unknown side effects.
When you get older, it's harder to sleep, I believe.
As you get older, it's more difficult to stay awake all night and more difficult to sleep during the day. So it's important to develop consistently good sleep habits and strategies as early as possible.
It's been really hard with children over the years, trying to explain to them that they need to be quiet while their dad sleeps. Other children come to the door and ring the doorbell, not knowing that someone's trying to sleep.
For good daytime sleep, you need cooperation from family and friends. It's important to communicate your needs and for them to communicate theirs. Your spouse may not understand the added responsibilities. Your children may not understand why you don't have time for them.
And when you try and explain to your friends, you know, how you work, or people who are not familiar with the railroad, they can't understand it. And that's the first thing they ask is, how do you do it? Well, you learn to adjust.
I think it's very hard to explain to friends and family that aren't involved in this type of work. You know, if they ask you if you want to do something next week or go out to dinner or something like that, you know, you have to say, well, can I call you that day?
And then when you try to explain, if they're working next to board and you try to explain to somebody how that works, I mean, they look at you like, what?
I don't think you ever really do get completely geared into it. You just come to grips with it.
Basically, I learned to do things on my own.
When I'm home, I try to do special things like go over to school and eat lunch with them.
What you do is you say, we would like to go somewhere. If it works out, we go. If we don't, it doesn't. So you have to be very flexible.
Over 80% of workers on shifts express concerns about the impact on their family and social life. When possible, plan family and social events for times when you're reasonably sure you'll be off work. Replacing quantity time with quality time requires negotiation.
They go on with their schedule, and when I'm home, I go along with them, and when I'm gone, I'm gone.
My family plans activities. If I happen to be there, then I join in.
I don't think there's a real set of rules that you can tell anybody you need to do this and this and this, because they have to do whatever works for their particular family. And just know that you can't change it. You have to deal with it.
And we just had to learn to maybe have Thanksgiving dinner the weekend before Thanksgiving or the weekend after, or, you know, you just have to learn to be flexible.
The family and everybody else in the world lives by an 8 to 5, and this is a 24-hour operation, and they don't coincide.
I don't think that we ever planned set activities that we would go anywhere for a weekend. A lot of times it was spur-of-the-moment type things.
I tell everyone that I'm related to or associated with, when they press me for a schedule or a time, I say, do not plan around my schedule or timing. You go ahead and do what you need to do, and if I'm able to make it, that's great. If I'm not, maybe next time.
30 to 45% of shift workers report chronic stomach problems from the kinds of food they eat during the night and before bed.
There's a lot of times when you feel like you're tired and you go to bed and you know you're staring at the ceiling because your stomach's churning.
I won't eat as much greasy stuff like a hamburger or something like that in the evening as I would in the afternoon.
If you're hungry and need to eat before bed, avoid greasy, spicy, or high-protein foods, which are hard to digest. Try breakfast foods like cereal, bread, dairy products, yogurt, fruit, or vegetables.
Like if I ate a Spanish omelet and then tried to go to bed on it, I could probably get some sleep, but I'd usually wake up a couple hours later with a little heartburn or something.
Discontinue caffeine beverages at least 4 hours prior to bedtime. Sometimes, individuals try to counterbalance the effects of caffeine by resorting to sleeping pills or alcohol, which disturbs sleep and causes one to awaken feeling unrested. Because of our body clocks, the stomach is pretty much shut down during the night. Have you ever wondered why so many railroaders use antacids? It's not that you shouldn't eat during the night, it's just that you need to be careful what you eat.
Generally, when I do eat before going to bed, it is at the away-from-home terminal, and it's generally a salad. I find that a salad is light enough on my stomach that I'll sleep a little bit better.
Like last night, I got in. We got in about 1:30, and and I felt hungry. So a lot of times I'll go have a bowl of soup.
Eating when you wake up helps reset your body clock and get you started, regardless of what time the clock says. If you wake up in the afternoon or evening, you should eat traditional supper-type foods, such as meat, potatoes, and vegetables, because this is when your body can best digest them. As the night goes on, gradually shift to lunch-type foods. Then, light foods, such as cereals, fruits, or dairy products. Stop caffeine at least 4 hours prior to bed.
We eat awkward. We eat very awkward on this railroad. We eat out a lot. We eat along the road. We stop any place, we'll go get something. So we're doing all kinds of eating. And we will eat bacon, eggs, and hash browns at 8 o'clock at night with a bowl of cereal and fruit. And we'll eat fried chicken with mashed potatoes and gravy and dressing at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Remember, the types of food you eat will vary depending on when you eat them. Eat heavier foods when you awaken and lighter foods as your shift progresses. Irregular work schedules can be difficult. However, there are many things you have control over that can make them easier. Some existing eating and sleeping habits, if continued over the years, may lead to health and safety problems.
The weight room that the railroad put in here is very good.
This exercise facility helps a lot. Putting cable TV in these clubhouses helped a lot.
With the workout rooms, those have helped. At least you get some exercise. And if you're not too tired and you know you have to go to bed, run down and exercise a little bit. You'll get tired.
Of utmost importance, get adequate sleep. Make sure your sleep environment is dark, quiet or sound masked, and cool. For day sleepers, get to bed as early as possible. This will keep your metabolism from waking you before you're rested. Maintain a normal meal routine, regardless of your work schedule. Always eat after getting up. Maintain consistent intervals between meals, regardless of the time. When working nights, start your workday with a breakfast of traditional supper-type foods, that is, meats, potatoes, and vegetables. As the night goes on, gradually shift to lunch-type foods. Then traditional breakfast-type foods. Stop caffeine at least 4 hours prior to bed. If you're hungry before bed, eat breakfast foods. Remember, between 3 and 6 a.m., it is more difficult, biologically, to function the same as at other times. Your ability to concentrate, think clearly, remain vigilant, and react can be impaired during this time period. Be aware of this and work with your fellow employees to ensure that they stay alert. Whenever possible, prepare for your return to work before going to bed. This maximizes your sleep period. Use a beeper or pager if possible, and avoid all irrelevant phone calls.
I have a beeper, a pager, and when I go to bed, a lot of times I don't want to be disturbed. I turn my recorder, phone message recorder, on with the volume down. I turn the bell off on my phone in my bedroom, and I take my beeper and I put it beside my bed.
We finally ended up getting 2 phone lines.
I can't have a phone everywhere on my place, so if you just want to get outside, you need a pager. I think that's something that I used to think they were useless, but I've grown to appreciate mine.
Remember, there are family and friends who don't work your schedule. Be sensitive to their problems while making them more aware of your needs. Replace quantity time with quality time. This requires planning, communication, and cooperation. Whenever possible, keep your family informed of your schedule. Plan activities for when you're fairly certain you'll be free. Plan your sleep time around activities without sacrificing sleep. Many shift workers blame all their problems on their schedule. With increased effort to communicate, plan, and negotiate, almost all of these problems will be minimized. You have control over what you eat, when you eat, how you sleep, and how you deal with your family and friends. All these have a significant impact on your mood, your health, and your safety.
This isn't a job, this is a lifestyle, this is a way of life. Maybe just if more people understood the difficulties involved with that, that'd be a good starting point.
You have to learn to take advantage of the times you do have.
Most people just can't give up their weekends and give up their... It takes a certain type of person to even work this lifestyle.
Just to be positive about it, because if you didn't, it would just be constant stress.
It's just a different life. I wouldn't do anything else.
Railroading around the clock, around the calendar. must continue to be the safest and most efficient form of transportation. To compete in the transportation marketplace, trains must operate both day and night. We must continue to make improvements in the way we manage our assets, both the plant and, most importantly, our people. Your support is encouraged for the safety of our work environment and the growth of this company. Remember, railroaders are not alone in this 24-hour society. Having the flexibility and wisdom to maintain our position as leaders will assure a safe work environment for all our employees.